Okay, I'm pretty sure I'm live now. Guys, I'm working with the software still. I've been watching the market since the open. And I guess I wasn't going live, but I'm live now. So right now we're just kind of waiting for a clear break of this range. Talked about this being climactic, right? Because it's range, double top, last push up fails, becomes a reversal attempt. Reasonable to short here, lots of risk, but I'm kind of waiting for something a little bit more definitive. We have been looking at some stocks today too. I just took profits on ETN to have some earnings tomorrow. Uh, Made just a little under 5% there. What else? What other good plays did we have last week? We had X short that turned out well. Let's see. Chevron turned out well. What else did we have last week? I think those were the main ones. Right there. We were watching some plays that didn't trigger. I didn't really feel like Goldman Sachs triggered. I didn't really feel like Starbucks triggered. But Starbucks is something that I'm still watching. Still watching really close. And might be taking a position on it soon. We'll see. We will see. I really want a clear, definitive break here. Clear, definitive break. Still in a very tight range here, so it's reasonable to expect that the market is going to expand. Now we've had one attempt to break out here. We have not had a second yet. But this one attempt, I think, does increase the likelihood that we're going to go a little bit lower as opposed to a little bit higher. And it'll probably be a trading range day overall. This probably won't be a trend day, although anything can happen. If it is a trend day on the daily chart, and we have a bear bar that closes at or near its low, if it's an inside bar, it could potentially be a good signal bar for the bears. If it's just like this is wick, and we have a bear body closing at or near its low, but the body is inside to the previous bar, it could potentially be a good signal bar for bears, and it would be a good signal bar for a second entry short. Be reasonable to think that maybe we would retest the 5,000. It's also still reasonable to think that we would test 5,000 again before pushing up to a new high. And I do think that we're going to get here in a couple of weeks. But, you got to keep in mind that we're in a range. I don't really know how far up higher we can get here. I do think that we can get a little bit higher. I was thinking that the high for this year for the S&P would be around 5,700. I said that back in, I think, January or February. 5,700 for this year. No idea if I'll be right or not. It's definitely not something that's easy to predict. But if I was right, it'd be really cool. It'd make me look really smart. Even if it's not true, it'd still make me look like it. It is kind of like a push down, pause. Here's another big bear bar. Maybe we'll go lower here. Maybe we'll go ahead and test the low on this next bar too. Bulls had a, it's not really at an area of support, but this is a bull signal bar here. Couldn't get above it. Bulls don't look very willing to buy here. You could potentially be short here with a stop up here. You just don't have good risk to reward. Maybe if you're lucky, we have a breakout. Not a good enough trade for me. Six and a half points risk. If you put your stop up here. If you're not allowing the breakout, right? If you're not allowing the, high one. There's something else too, is like we're in a range, and the best the bulls can really get here is a high one. So it's probably not going to entice a lot of buyers, even if the high one triggers. Good to check out the 2000 tick too. Sometimes if you want to get in with smaller risk on big bars like this, sometimes if you watch very, very carefully, and if you're really good at what you do, then you'll see buying opportunities on the 2000 tick while these bars are forming. So we'll just go ahead and draw out a channel. So sometimes this channel is going to get broken. That's the better buying opportunity. This isn't necessarily the best example, but it's not really the worst either. And that is right up in here we have some buying opportunities. Even if we don't, we can kind of assume this channel exists because of this corner, right? So it's like here. And so by breaking this channel, liquidity has essentially been grabbed. And we push down. And this right here becomes a low one sell. Not necessarily a good signal bar, but if you're really aggressive while these bear bars are forming very quickly, if you're really aggressive, then you can find opportunities like this while the bars are forming. We actually also can have a double bottom here. Oops. This is what I mean by a double bottom here. Just ignore this. Still getting used to this keyboard. Give me just a second, guys. I'm looking at some stocks. If I'm ever quiet, I'm either just in the Discord or I'm doing my stock work. I definitely need a third monitor, though. There's no doubt about that. I definitely need a third one. I will get it one day. I have many other things to get before then. Here's a high one trigger. I'm watching Starbucks pretty closely. I'm watching it pretty close. I think it might be. I think it's going to be ready for a breakout here soon. Which direction is the? It's the only question, right? It's easy to see a breakout coming. It's not always easy to know the direction. You can assume, but you know, there's a lot of tricks to it too, and it depends on like the kind of breakout. Triangles are a great example. If you have a breakout of a triangle, still about a 50% chance that breakout's going to fail. Another example is trading in barred wire. Right in front of us here. This isn't necessarily completely barred wire, but we have doji, gray bar, doji, 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 doji. You know, and we have weak breakouts. Breakout here to the downside after a double top. Didn't go very far. Breakout here to the upside. Try to get a new high. Just barely got it. Market open, we had a lot of volatility. Tried to break out here, couldn't do it. So anytime you see bars like this, you got to remember that these breakouts probably won't go very far, and it's equally likely that they'll reverse. Range here, lots of barred wire, big initial push up, big bull bar, thinking you can sell above, you can't. It had a pullback, had another push up, bouncing off the top of the range here, and ended up being a nice short setup. You got to be aware of these breakouts. You really do. The best thing about the breakouts is that you, generally speaking, have good risk to reward. Still in this opening range here. Remember, I don't know, maybe my stream wasn't going because I don't know how to work anything apparently. But at the beginning I was saying how this was probably going to be climactic, and it was. Always going back to this daily chart. Always. It's a gap up, so we know that the chances of a range are likely. We know that it's hard for bulls to buy here, and it's hard for bears to sell. So the chances are that we're going to have a range day today. Bulls who triggered above this bar, they don't have a whole lot of reason to be buying. They have a little bit, but not a whole lot. Same thing with the bears. If anything goes below this bar, bears have a reason to sell, but it's not that great of a reason because it's a bad signal bar. It's a gray bar, so neither bulls nor bears are very happy with it. Bears did have a previous low one failure. We talked about that as well. When you have a tight channel like this, first reversal up normally fails. But if the context is a range, then the probabilities are lower. Thank you to whoever just liked the video. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Still waiting for something definitive. We're still in this range. Still ranging out. Still waiting for a good trade. The only decently reasonable trade I've seen so far is selling below here. Which maybe in hindsight, maybe I guess I could have done. But, I mean, it wasn't even that interesting of a trade. It had a lot of risk on it. It didn't have a lot of downside. I didn't think it would have a lot of downside, just a bar or two, because we're probably in a range. The best I could probably get is the low here, really, if I took that short. It's also a double top and a third push-up, so it's a wedge. So now, because of this high here, we really need a breakout above this high for us to be taking something that's not in a range. Like if we bought above this bar, for whatever reason, good or bad, we had bought above this bar, our stop loss is in the exact middle of the range here. Even if we put it down here and we risked a lot, it's still within the range. I don't want my stop loss in the range. I'm only going to take a position in a range if I can get my stop loss outside of it, or else I'm just not interested. Ranges are too volatile. A lot of people think that if you buy at the bottom, the market kind of does this, kind of just goes to the top here. I mean, yeah, it's true. If you buy at the bottom, your profit target's the top, and vice versa. But oftentimes, it has deep pullbacks within the range, and sometimes it has very limited upside for more downside before it begins going up again. So need to be really careful. That's kind of why I say too, like, I was talking to someone recently, some private mentoring lessons, and we were talking about double tops and bottoms, specifically in the context of a range, because if you take this short here, let's just say you shorten here, it doesn't matter the reason, it doesn't matter. If you short in here, you have this tiny push down, and you have this bigger push up, and it's a lot of times it's better just to wait for the double top to form, and then you can take a short position, just so you don't have to hold through all this. Just try to find some form of extra confirmation. It's kind of another one, channel, break, channel. Let's measure it real fast. I think it's actually overextended a little bit. Let's see, that's the low. always press the wrong buttons. We see that's a low. That one's overextended some. This isn't really what I look for. But I do like channel break channel, where it's, I'm just gonna, yeah, where it's like you have a channel of one size here, and then maybe you have another channel that's supposed to, maybe that channel is supposed to get down here, but it fails about 2/3 of the way down. It's another setup I like a lot. Channel break channel, it's a failed measured move setup. It's not really what happened here, but it can be a really, really good setup. It's a high 2 setup, second entry. If we look at ranges and broad channels, oftentimes second entries are the better entries because the first entries will fail. And it makes sense too if you think about it. The market's in a range most of the time in one form or another. So it makes sense that second entries would work really well majority of the time. Something like first entries really only works in trends, and it only works, generally speaking, once or twice in a leg before it starts to fail. I do still have a video out there. It's got 98 views. I said this, but I don't think that the camera was going. Still getting used to this software. But it's got 98 views. So I would really appreciate it if y'all could give me 2 more views so that I could have 100. It's really all I care about. It's not literally all I care about, but you know, I've been looking at this video for a while. I'm like, I just want 100 views. If nothing else happens. That's all I care about. That's all I want. It's not all I care about. But it's something I've been thinking about lately. I am interested in entering Starbucks. We're just kind of in this range. Our risk to reward is really good right now, and I'm definitely looking to enter soon. Maybe we could consider being short in here. We're kind of still in the middle of a range. And we need a good signal bar too. We'd also be going up against 1, 2, 3, 4 bull bars. Minute 40 left, so 4 bull bars. Just looking at some stocks real fast. I love my Discord group. It's a really great group. I love working with everyone. It is a lot of work though. I have to pay attention to a lot of things at once. I might take a vacation soon. I do have a few planned this year, but not very many. I don't have anywhere near as many vacations planned this year as I normally do. We are just shooting right up here. Right up. We have a tail here, tail here, tail here. I mean, I'm just kind of watching this and I'm seeing these tails and I'm kind of like, okay, I mean, I don't know, how much farther can this go? How much farther can this go? And it keeps going further. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 bull bars in a row so far. Still within the context of a range, though. Still within a range context. And I guess we're just going to keep going higher. Okay. It's a little bit weird here because I kind of don't want to buy I don't want to buy the close because of the wicks. And we're in a range. I don't want to be short because I'm going up against 1, 2, 3, 4, potentially 5 bull bars, maybe more. And you got to think I need a signal bar on top of that, so we may or may not even reach the top on this bar. If we don't, maybe it'll take another 2 or 3 bars. And then on top of that, I need a good signal bar. I may go ahead and draw this out here. I noted the double bottom here when it happened, but I didn't buy it. And the reason I didn't buy it is maybe I would have if it was down here. But if I bought here, then my stop loss would still be inside the range. So, makes me not very interested. This is a nice second entry, right? Double bottom, so it's a high 2, but then you have a micro high 2 too. 1. This wick pulls down, enters up, your high 2 triggers here. Pretty good risk to reward overall. I guess your stop loss would be about here right now if you took this trade. Maybe I'll watch the 2000 tick just a little bit more. You could maybe look to buy here. Maybe look to buy in here somewhere. There's you a signal bar if you want to buy a high 1. I don't really want to buy a high 1 here. I don't really want to buy a high 1, kind of close to the top of the range. Just not really interested. I guess my IEP is profitable. If you're in my Discord, then you know that I bought IEP recently as a investment play. My greatest fear on IEP is that I timed the bottom perfectly. It's my greatest fear. I guess not perfectly. What is my average? Like maybe high 16s? I think I have a high 16 average. It's pretty close. Its bottom was 15. Um, but I plan on I plan on holding IEP for a year or two, something like that, however long it takes. But what I kind of meant though was when I said that I was afraid that I timed the bottom was normally if you're investing in something, and especially if you're buying on weakness like I am with IEP, it's a lot of weakness. When you're buying on weakness like that, generally you trade small and you scale in throughout time, and you might scale in 3 or 4 different times. That's completely normal. It's what most people do. But the thing about it is, if you time the bottom perfectly and you're trading small, then that's it. You don't get to add to your position, and I want to have the ability to add to my position. Tesla is another one I'm thinking about buying for an investment here soon. Where is Tesla stock at, I wonder? Oh wow, that's big earnings gap up. That's huge, man. I imagine it's still going to fail, though. Tesla is just freaking out. Yeah, I kind of want it a little bit lower. I wanted to buy... Actually, I think that 130s is when I... No, 101. 101 is the low, so I'd kind of like it to be somewhere in there. But maybe I will buy a little bit and scale in. Who knows? I also don't generally want to hold at an extreme loss if I don't have to. This high one was technically a winner. Signal bar, entry bar. It did meet an equal high. Profit is very small, about 2 points. Range is absolutely killing me today. I do want to take an entry. It's just not a lot of opportunities. You can scalp, you can buy and sell the closes. It's not really what I'm into. I'm not really a scalper. I kind of started out, when I started out trading, I thought of myself as a scalper. I was just taking like a point or two, kind of here and there, and yeah, it is what it is. I do have a double top here. A little bit much risk. Probably not getting filled. I think we should sell this top. Let's do it. Let's see what happens. Let's see if I can actually get filled. Some halfway decent risk to reward here. It's not the best, not the worst. I'm willing to take it though. I'm willing to take an L here. predefining my risk with a limit order. So my stop still isn't outside the range, but I am going to take this double top. I'm willing to risk this. Kind of weak. We did have an entry trigger here. We have a weak bull bar, bear bar, still within the context of the range. Kind of on the outside of the range right now. So basically what I'm doing here is I'm just betting that we're still within this range. Still within this range somewhere. Although I will say I don't actually know where. A little bit better position maybe to wait until we get back up here. It is showing some signs of weakness here though, and we're outside of the original range, so that's why I'm willing to risk it. I mean, it's still within my risk parameters as well. This isn't really the best setup in the world, but we've been sitting here for a while and I'm willing to risk it. If it gets back up here, it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. I'm just chilling here. It's a very volatile area. Like I said, it's not really the best setup, but I've been sitting here for a while. So I'm willing to take something if it has good risk to reward. No matter what the outcome, really. And we're just sitting here waiting. I look for another opportunity to be short here again in a little bit. Because if we look at it, it becomes a 1. Maybe if we get stopped out and we get another trigger up here, it becomes a second entry short. So maybe if we have a good signal bar there, then that might be an interesting short. We kind of lacked a good signal bar here. I was looking at the 2000 tick, and it's double top, the big bear bar. Okay, guys. So we're looking for another opportunity is what we're going to look for. Okay, let's go back to the 5 and watch the 5 more. Let's watch the 5 and we'll work with this some more. Okay, we're out. No big deal. Not really the best entry, but it was kind of high up, and we saw some weakness here, so it is what it is. One trade doesn't define us. A lot of new people don't realize it, but frankly, you need to be ready to take 6 losers in a row. Because it'll happen to you eventually. Eventually you'll have 6 losers in a row. Most people can't handle 1 or 2 losers in a row. Nevertheless, 6. Okay, just sitting here waiting. Just sitting here waiting for an entry now. Not too many good setups so far today. Not too many good ones. This is the double top. This might be another push down. Somewhat reasonable to enter here, honestly. Do I want to enter on a 2000 tick again? I don't know. Really small risk, though. My God, go away. Really, really small risk, about the same level. Not much further. Looks like it might not be a bad short. It's just probably a little bit late for me. Also retest this channel line here. If I have another push up here, maybe I'll look to take a short entry. It is an outside bar, even if it's just by a tick or two. So it's not really necessarily the best signal bar to be short on. But maybe if I can get some other kind of double top up here, maybe that will be a good entry. We just missed it, didn't we? 1, 2, another entry there. We are really close. It is second entry short for bears. Mess with this channel line a little bit. Oh man, we just barely missed it too. Just barely missed this move. You guys saw it. I was ready for it. I just took a position a little bit early. A little bit too early. Probably should have re-entered, but it's kind of tough to re-enter on that. You got weakness, and you got this bull bar, which ended up being climactic. It'd be kind of tough to enter on that. I have this channel line drawn right here. This is a pretty big bear bar, so I'm just looking to see if I can't get some movement up. And I'll look to potentially be short. It's just that, you know, now if I do that, though, I have to go back to using the 2000 tick. Because if I use a 5, my stop is going to be huge. Do have a break here. Kind of a sideways break. I would like a bull bar here. Decent pierce below the 20 EMA. I'd really like to get up to the 20 EMA on the 2000 tick, then maybe find a rejection. I'm just going to put an order up for now. Try to find a signal bar. If you're a bull who bought here, maybe you bought the close here, you need to get out break even and be around the open. So maybe we'll go up a little bit higher even. This one bear bar undoes a lot of bull bars, so I think it's reasonable to be short if we can. 500 ticks left. I want a good signal bar, see if I'll get it or not. I might have to take this as a signal bar if I want to be short. We'll see. Small bear bar, I'm probably going to get filled. For better or for worse. Very small risk here. Very, very small risk. Look at that tiny risk. The risk is so tiny. Profit targets here. We have like this double bottom. We have the low of the day. I'd probably be more willing to pick the low of the day here. And then I will look to trail by the bar, hopefully. This is kind of what I was talking about earlier. It's kind of a way to get in. If you're looking at the 5-minute and you want to sell below these bars here. First entry short on the 2000. Might get stopped out from volatility. Let's see what this 5 looks like. Oh, there it goes. Oh, lame. We'll watch it again. We might go for one more attempt. It's tough though. It's tough not to get caught up in this range. The market is really ranging like this, it's very hard to trade. Profit targets are generally pretty small too. I need a signal bar. One more time. See if we get triggered here. I would still prefer a good signal bar though. If this doesn't end up as a good signal bar, then I'll probably just ignore it. Okay, we're going to try this one more time. Very small risk. I'm willing to do this because my risk is very small. Let's see if we'll be lucky here or not. Hopefully there's not too much of a range. I think my biggest worry is just getting stopped out from a range. It is second entry short for bears. 1, 2. It's relatively bearish. We have this big bear bar here. Have kind of a pause bar. Maybe something like that will happen. Who knows, right? Go ahead and move to break even here. Since we did break this low. Hopefully I didn't move too soon. Broke this low. I'm willing to move to break even, but come on. Oh, geez, dude. So volatile today. So volatile. Okay. So very volatile. It's like this big move. And then whenever that happens in a situation like this, you kind of want to move to break even somewhat quickly. And it's still reasonable because we still made the new low here. I took the trade off of this chart here. Made a new low, so technically we hit the profit target really, but I'm not a scalper. So I'm not interested in your measly 2 points. You might could still hold this and make a profit, but I wanted to move to break even just because it is so volatile. It's a lot of ups, a lot of downs. But after this, I'm really not interested in trading this at all until it gets out of this range here. See how this daily chart looks. Still hanging right around this 20 EMA. Today's a tough day to trade, guys. It really is. It really, really is. Very tough day. Profit targets aren't very big. Risk is generally up there, stop losses aren't always in good spots. But just watch the range for the rest of the day and maybe try to focus on after it breaks. After it breaks, see what happens. I think that's going to be it for me right now, guys. I'm going to be in the Discord the rest of the day, though. We are in some stocks today. Yeah, some of these are doing okay. XRX is looking good. I took a position in some others that I called out to the Discord, not necessarily to everyone else, though. Okay, guys, I'll see y'all in the Discord. I'm going to call it for day trading today. Best of luck trading to everyone, and I will see you next time. Okay, guys, I'll see you on the Discord.